This your boy Mullah. This we got that foul. This is the game one. Clippers at Suns. My boys lost the first go round. It's okay. They still look gas from that game 7 victory. So go ahead. Let me see what you got to say. Let's go. Get it all out, bro.
Yeah, Skip, he was sensational. And he was asked to do something that he doesn't normally do. And I did hear him say this, Skip, because I wanted to hear what he had to say, about his performance, because we know what he thinks of Kobe. And he was talking about after the game, he said, yeah, I needed to do what I normally do, but I had to get other people involved. He said, I'm a scorer. He said, CP normally has all that other stuff, and I just go out there and do my thing. Well, this was an opportunity. I still needed to do my thing, but I needed to make sure everybody else could do their thing also, Skip. There's only 4 guys that's had the 40-point triple-double in the conference final or the divisional round of the playoffs. He's one of the 4. So that just goes to show you the magnitude, Skip. And he's growing. He's growing right before our eyes. He wants his respect because he's like, hold on, I ain't making no All-NBA team. Y'all be shortchanging me when it comes to All-Star. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bust y'all, you know what? When I get in these playoffs and now moving forward, when y'all vote for these All-Star and All-NBA teams, don't forget what I did to your favorite player. Your favorite player's favorite player, I tore his butt up too. So moving forward, Skip, I don't think Devin Booker is going to have a problem making an All-Star team. I don't think he's going to have a problem making an All-NBA team, considering what he's doing in these playoffs, Skip. And if you look at the second half, Skip, he went 11, 6, and 5 in the fourth quarter, 29, 7, and 8 in the second half. That's where you want your superstars. That's where you want when you really become iconic, you want to become legendary. It's not the regular season. You got to play good in these games, in these moments. In every moment that they've asked Devin Booker to play big, Skip, he's played bigger than even what they've asked for. And for Chris Paul not to be there, and for him to take on initiating the offense role, now Cameron Payne was sensational too. Don't take anything away from him. This is a very well-coached team. They got guys with hey, I'm good with where I am. I ain't trying to be this. I ain't trying to be that. Let's just whatever I can do to help this team get better, Skip. He was sensational. But you still believe in playoff P? He had 1 point in 4 quarters. Now, I know you was excited, and maybe you didn't watch, but I want people to go back and look at that game closely on Friday night.
Ooh, thank you. I'm glad you brought that up.
Look at the game when the game was getting out of hand, and Paul George was nowhere to be found.
Really?
The moment Terrence Mann and Reggie Jackson started raining threes and everything got close, Paul George said, hey, you see me too? But when the thing was getting away from him, Paul George wasn't to be found. He front running. Just like yesterday, he came up small, mini me, this big. 1 point. You played, how many minutes did he play, Skip, in the fourth quarter? And he only gave you 1 point, and that was a free throw, a technical free throw that he shouldn't have called.
How did Paul George score 10 in the fourth quarter on Friday night? I don't know. Maybe I got to get a new TV.
Skip,
10?
Let me ask you a question.
Really?
Skip, if Terrence Mann does not go out of his mind.
Sure, that helped.
Oh, he helped.
In the third quarter.
Paul George helped.
They were 25 points down in the third quarter. 25 down.
Hey, what did he do in the third?
You don't think this team's got grit and
guts?
guts?
Let me ask you a question. What did Paul George do in the third quarter? What did Terrence Mann do in the third quarter? There's the difference.
They've been doing it all year. It's who's tonight's hero. It can be Reggie Jackson. It can be Marcus Morris, who it was on Friday night. It can be all of them because they're a really deep, talented basketball team. And Paul George scored 10 in the fourth quarter and brought them home to the biggest playoff comeback ever. 25 points in the third quarter, and they're the first team ever to go down 0-2 in back-to-back playoff series in the same playoff run and survive and live to tell about it. And this one, they did it in 6 games.
They scored 41 points in the third quarter. Terrence Mann had 20. Reggie Jackson had 14.
Yep.
So that's 34. Paul George was 1 for 3. And the 2 of those came from the free throw, 2 of his points. Okay. So that's 4
and then
points.
Who took over in the fourth? Paul George got
he took
10.
over?
Well, yeah, 10 points in the fourth. Is that good?
Reggie Jackson had 8.
Yeah.
Terrence Mann had 5.
Okay, who was the leading scorer for the Clippers in the fourth, Shannon Sharp? I think it was playoff P.
Actually, it was Patrick Beverly.
Who should completely be playoff P. Yeah, Patrick Beverly hit 3 threes. That is correct. But 10 points? So here's what playoff P averaged in that series before I answer the question about yesterday.
Beverly,
he averaged 29, 10, and 5. Are you kidding me? And his fourth quarters went like this: 13, 10, 6, 9, 7, and 10. He averaged 9 points a fourth quarter in those 6 games. That is playoff P, underscored. There's no more pandemic P.
Yes,
I'll take it.
So what was he yesterday? What was he yesterday?
Well, they lost yesterday.
No.
Now,
What was Paul George?
First of all, here's the point. At the end of the third quarter, he went on a rampage unlike any that you'll see in the National Basketball Association, because Paul George is supremely gifted.
Yes.
At 6'8", he can shoot the
Feathery,
lights out.
silky smooth.
It is silky. And he scored 14 points in the last 6 minutes of the third quarter to draw them even going to the fourth quarter. And then what did Ty Lue do? Well, what was absurdly unfair about yesterday, which obviously you did not bring up, was the fact that the Clippers broke through and won a Game 6 at home against a favored Utah. Utah was favored to win that game. They broke through and became the first Clippers team in their 51-year history to make it to the conference finals. And they suddenly look up after the game and say, wait a second. We have to play on the road in a day and a half. We have to fly to Phoenix and play in a day and a half against a Phoenix that's been resting for 7 days. It's outrageously unfair. You're up against it. You're almost certainly going to lose that game. And they finally did. But it wasn't until they hung on and took it to the last drop. Now, I'm going to give you Devin Booker because he was sensational, beating whatever defender they threw at him or shredding the double teams when they blitzed him. He would find the open man, and Phoenix hit a lot of open shots.
Hit a lot of big shots.
But they didn't hit a lot of threes because my Clippers made 23s yesterday and outscored Phoenix at Phoenix by 21 points from the three-point line. That's usually good enough to get you over the hump. But guess what? What do I always tell you? Weirdly, the Clippers seem to go as Marcus Morris Sr. goes. What happened to Marcus Morris Sr. yesterday? He goes 0 of 5 from 3. They still had 20, but he went 0 of 5. And he's now got a knee issue that kept him out of the game late in the game when I needed him the most. Now, let's get back to what Devin Booker could not do. If we look hard at the fourth quarter and people just hysterically overreact to these playoff games, Devin Booker, I heard some clown on another network say, one of the great playoff games ever played. Really? Well,
you said clown, Skip. Some clown.
Let's check this out, shall we? I got a tape I'm going to show you, Mr. Sharp. I got tape today, too. Who knew? These are 5 shots that he missed from the 9-minute mark. There's the first one. This is Devin Booker in the fourth quarter. From 9 minutes down to 20 seconds. There's number 2. Ooh, he missed that one bad. Almost an air ball wide left. Here's the third one on Reggie Jackson. Ooh, that missed badly left. Here's the fourth one, and he goes up on Terrence Mann. Ooh, that's an air ball. That hit the top of the basket. And then here he goes again on Reggie Jackson, and clank, back iron. 5 straight shots Devin Booker had missed down to the 20-second mark, which opened the door for the Clippers to come through it. Walking through the door, I should say, bolting through the door, was somebody named Rondo. I don't know whatever happened to him because he DNP'd a couple of games against Utah. In one game, if I go back 3 games ago, he didn't even dress. And yesterday, he played more minutes than the guy who led them, Patrick Beverly, in the fourth quarter, as you pointed out, on Friday night. Right. He actually played more minutes yesterday, and I'm not exactly sure why, but playoff Rondo came back and played 22 minutes to Patrick Beverly's 15 minutes. Woo, really? So Rondo makes a driving basket and 2 threes in the fourth quarter, and that was the propulsion that got them back in the game. And Rondo stays in the game, and I'm guessing that Ty Lue wants to get him back in game shape because he wants Rondo versus Chris Paul when Chris Paul returns, and it could be next game. Because Rondo seems to irritate and annoy Chris Paul because they do not like each other.
Skip, I'm confused. You talked about the great fourth quarter that Paul George had on Friday night where he had 10 points. And you showed shots of Devin Booker missing, but you failed to mention that Devin Booker had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in the fourth quarter.
Okay, well, he had them early and then late. And I'm about to get to why he had them late. 20 seconds left. The Clippers have cut it to 2 at Phoenix. And I'm saying we got this because we got all the momentum because I had tweeted late second quarter. Go look at my timeline. Devin Booker will cool off. And he did. He not only cooled off, he went flat out cold. I just showed you 5 straight misses. He did make 2 free throws in the middle of them, but 5 straight missed jump shots, and they weren't even close. And now we get to the play of the game. An inside out of bounds play on Phoenix's end of the court. If we could see this, please. Devin Booker gets completely free for a dunk. How do you do that? I want to show it again. Look at this. So I wish we could freeze this, but here's the point. Terrence Mann has him face to face to start this formation, if you will, this set. And all of a sudden, at the inbounds, as it starts to be thrown in, Terrence Mann goes backwards as Devin Booker bolts across the top of the set. Rondo is actually facing the basket, which I've never seen anybody face the basket, because shouldn't you be like in between your man that you're guarding in the basket? It's like they're playing some weird zone, except Rondo lets him run right by and go for a dunk. A dunk. It's wide open. You can't do it. You're going to lose. That's the game.
Skip,
what was that, Rondo?
You know how everybody jets to the backcourt?
But it's weird Rondo stuff where he says, I'm going to trick you.
Right.
I'm going to actually stand back here and play center field facing your basket. Right. And all of a sudden, Devin Booker says, seriously, I'll just keep cutting underneath. And he loops around the set and just goes underneath for a wide open dunk. And why Terrence Mann didn't run with him, I don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't know. How can you? Yeah, answer me that question. Show me why. Show me how.
Rondo normally he's thinking he's trying to outsmart them. He says, I know you guys are going to try to throw this ball to the backcourt, and so I'm going to jump. But what Devin Booker, to his credit, is like, you know what? I'm going to roll to the basket. Nobody was there. In a situation like that, Skip, you got to have somebody playing off just in case somebody does dart towards the basket.
So listen, Terrence Mann is one of the best defenders they have, especially on Devin Booker, who's 6'5". Well, Terrence Mann is also 6'5", and he's long and he's strong, and he is extreme energy and commitment to playing defense. So to me, I don't know why you don't just run with him.
Right.
Just go with him. You're face up with him. Just stay with him.
I think
he dropped back into like a zone.
Right, and they switching in Rondo. He came in Rondo's zone, so now all of a sudden he's Rondo's guy.
Except Rondo's not facing up. No. He's got his back to the play. Like, what are you doing?
But I believe Rondo thought that because Skip, everybody do it. They throw the ball to the backcourt. You chase me down. I'm gonna run like 3 or 4 seconds off the clock before you foul me. I come to the free throw line, make the free throws, but I did run some time off the clock.
Okay.
But if you look at Book, what Book does, he darts like he's about to go to the back. He's like, nope, I'm going this way. And it's too late for them to react. Because everybody else has their back. Everybody else is face guarding their man also.
Okay, so this is classic Clippers. They've had plays like this against Dallas. They had plays like this against Utah. But I loved what Ty Lue said after the game. We went through this with Luka in the first round. We went through this with Donovan Mitchell in the second round, where they are literally unguardable and unstoppable. But as he said, we adjust. We figure it out. And slowly but surely, Luka and Donovan and Jordan Clarkson became guardable and stoppable as the series wore on.
At some point in time, Skip, it's not going to come down to your superstar. And as you talked about, Kevin Durant did everything he possibly could. Or you look at at some point in time, Skip, you're going to have somebody, one of your role players, to come along with you. So if you start taking Book away, Crowder, Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, who played really well yesterday, Skip, if you think about what they're doing, you see how high they set that screen out? And so now the guys are having to go under, and then Devin Booker. See, Devin Booker is not a great three-point shooter.
No.
He's getting to that mid-range. And he gets to the mid-range, Skip, he's deadly.
Okay, so why is Rondo playing him to be out in three-point land? Like, I don't get it. I just don't. I know that Rondo is brilliant. Like, he's got genius to him. And it's like mad genius. But I'm saying I don't get that one. I can't see what you thought. You thought you could steal it somehow.
Yes. He was going to try to do that. Oh, y'all throw this to the backcourt?
Okay.
I'm going to pretend like I don't know what y'all going to do. And then I'm going to get this ball.
Okay. So, in the end, I believe they will adjust for the next game.
Well, that didn't work.
6-point underdogs. And if you tell me Marcus Morris Sr. now has a bad knee, obviously Kawhi's gone for the rest of the playoffs, then I'm in big trouble.
But Skip, you tweeted that Devin Booker was going to cool off. You didn't tweet that Paul George was going to cool off? Because he went 0 for 5 and 0 for 3 from the three. He cool? He was frozen.
Well, he wasn't frozen. Okay. What did I tell you? I think Ty Lue made a mistake because he thought, remember, Paul George has played the most minutes of anybody in the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
So he thinks to start the fourth quarter, I have to rest him. He was on fire. He had scored 14 in the last 6 minutes of the third quarter. And you sat him for the first 3.5 minutes of the fourth. And guess what happened? Predictably, they fell behind by 8. Well, you're digging up out of a hole that's hard to dig
but
out
y'all came back. Y'all came all the way back. And I think y'all took the lead briefly for a second.
Yep.
So know that you can't use that as an excuse. Your guy didn't come through, Skip. He had 1 point.
I'm just happy we got playoff P.
Yeah,
okay.
Y'all keep it.
Playoff P. I like that, Nick.
It's okay. They did what they supposed to do. Suns won, home court advantage. It's okay. It's okay, people. We still got the Clips. Clips gonna hold it down. Playoff P, playoff Rondo. Let's go, y'all. It's your boy Mullah. This week got that fire. I'll be back with another one. And I'm out of here.